Hey class, as promised, I will be filming a video today, just kind of walking you through the guidelines of the informative speech, the rubrics, and the speaker order and what is expected of you all. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the informative speech guidelines. I kind of went over them last Saturday class, but I know a lot of you missed my Zoom lecture. So I am going to go over the guidelines really quickly. So basically, for this speech, you are going to be increasing the knowledge of the audience about a topic of your choice. It can be about people, objects, events, phenomena, trends, issues, historical events, any of those. The only speech that you're not allowed to use is a process speech, which is a speech that is a how-to speech that basically tells you how to bake a cake, how to change a tire, or anything like that. Your speech requirement for time is 4 to 5 minutes, meaning that it's a minimum of 4 minutes and a maximum of 5. There's a couple of things that are going to be different in the speech. One of them being that you are actually going to need sources to back up your arguments. You need 2 to 3 sources to back up your arguments. And basically, you need to have oral citations in your speech so that I know that you have those sources. So an oral citation would be something like according to, stated by, kind of like what you would write in a paper to create like a citation. That's the same thing that you end your speech orally. So I need to hear 2 different ones like that. You will also be required to use visual aids for your speeches. I talked about the different types of visual aids that you can use. You can use PowerPoint, you can use a prop, you can use a poster, an object, you can bring in handouts, you can use the whiteboard, any of those are fine. If you are going to use something that needs to be pulled up on the projector, you need to email it to profmcommsclasses@gmail.com. It is an email that you can find at the top of the Canvas page where it says guidelines for visual aids. If you have any questions where to send your visual aid to, I will be sending you a reminder as well, so you know where to send them to. So that's basically what your informative speech guidelines are. So let's talk about who is going to speak when. So I have also listed the speaker order over here. So on day 1, which is May 6th, because remember this week on the 29th, we are not meeting because I am at the speech tournament and you're taking your midterm. So next week, so May 6th, we're going to have Brandy, Elizabeth, Dio, Luz, Carlos, Abigail, Melissa, Allison, Neri, Haley, Brandon, Elijah, Jonathan, and Jocelyn. They will be presenting on the 6th and their outline is due on the 6th, and they will be peer reviewing the people that go the next week. On day 2, which is May 13th, the following Saturday, we will have Janet, Reynaldo, Melody, Chris, Emily, Allison, Kaylee, Evelyn, Moises, Sarai, Jasmine, Patty, Leslie, and Brian. And they will be reviewing the people that went on day 1. Their outline is due that day. So that's the order of speakers. This time around, I don't have time for makeup speeches. I don't have time to move people around. So you have to deliver on the day. If for some reason you can't deliver it on the day that you were assigned, you are either going to deliver it before, or we would have to figure something else out. But you have to stick to the day that you're delivering your speeches. A lot of you missed your speech day last speech. This time around, I don't want that to be a problem and I don't want that to be a thing. When it comes to the delivery, basically, I am going to be grading similarly to the way that I graded your anecdotal speech. For the introduction, I'm going to be making sure it has 4 parts: the attention grabber, credibility statement, specific purpose, and your preview of main points. For your body paragraphs, that you have those 2 oral citations, right, according to, stated by, and they need to come from 2 different sources. They can't be the same source cited twice. It has to be 2 different sources. And I'm also going to be looking that you have good transitions. For the conclusion, that you wrap everything up, then you restate your thesis, you restate your main points, and that you end with the closing statement. Remember that for closing statements, you can use anything that you use as an attention grabber as a closing statement. For the delivery, if you got comments from me that you were reading too much from your slides, from your note cards, make sure that you rehearse and that you only glance at your note cards for reference, not reading from them. Make sure that you make eye contact with the audience. I went over last week how to make eye contact, how to make use of space, how to use your gestures. Make sure you do that. Make sure that you refer and rehearse with your visual aid, that you meet that time limit, and that you speak at an appropriate volume or rate for us. And your entire delivery is out of 67 points. Your outline grade is pretty much the same as it was last time, with the exception that for this outline, you actually have to submit a works cited. Obviously, if you have outside sources, you need to submit a works cited, which is something that you will have to do. So if you look at the informative speech outline, it's out of 33 points, and I'm going to be looking that your outline is in that Roman numeral format, that it has transitions, that it has a general specific purpose, and that has a creative title. For the sources, you need a minimum of 2 sources, remember, because you need 2 oral citations in your speech, you need a minimum of 2 sources, and you need to put them in MLA format, and it needs to be in a separate works cited from your speech, and that's out of 33 points. So this is basically what you are going to be doing. I will also be posting a sample informative speech so that you have some point of reference to look at when it comes to what a good informative speech looks like. But pretty much that's what you will be required to do for your informative speech. Remember that this week, April 29th, you will be taking your midterm. You have to go to the USC campus and take your midterm there. Jalen has required you to do so. She will be sending an email sometime later this week reminding you of that. I will remind you again of that. Make sure to watch this video so you understand what is expected of you. And I hope that you all have a great week. And I'm sorry that I will be missing you this week, but we will be back next week for your informative speeches. And I'm really, really excited to see what you come up with. See you next week.